Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Firm. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about this awesome conference that we went to, Bond Custom, bring you some news about the economy, talk about Ace Lab. You don't even know.
I have no idea.
And discuss how to be an effective CEO. Before we do that, I just want to point you to RevitRocketship.com. If you are trying to get your team on task and model like it gets built so everyone's on the same page, everyone's modeling correctly so that you have clean, clear drawings so that your CDs are a breeze, go to RevitRocketship.com.
And I want you to also head over after you do that, go to arcat.com. Why? Because if you can't find the product data you're looking for that beautiful model, you might be using the wrong search engine. Broad searches result in consumer products, out-of-date information, and websites that hide or don't have the information you're looking for. If you need specifications, CAD or BIM, arcat.com is your search engine. Find and download the up-to-date data you need fast. Arcat.com is free and requires no registration, so try Arcat today. That's ARCAT.com.
Do it. All right, so if you haven't heard of Bond Custom, I'm sure if you Google Bond Custom...
You know what? I got a little photo pulled up right here. Go ahead, Al.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, but Google them. Let's Google them. Right, Bond.
Yep. I missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Bondevents.com.
Yep.
Check them out. Al missed that photo. Yeah.
You even texted me right before. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it.
Yeah.
They have a couple different ones, and maybe we'll talk about that. We went to the one that was basically custom residential architecture. They also have a multifamily one. They have a resorts one. Do they have any other one?
Hospitality is what I would call that. Yeah.
Yep.
Beyond that, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We'll keep finding out as we just
find an event up on the top left.
Find an event. Project type. Look at that. Commercial, healthcare, hospitality, interior, single-family residential, multifamily.
Yep.
Love it.
If you're thinking about, you basically have to be a decision maker in these different categories to go. And it was the best conference that I have ever been to by far.
As far as architecture related goes, yeah.
Yeah. The hospitality, the service, the communication, the app, a couple like high points. The whole resort was awesome. Got to relax in the pool afterwards. The staff was super friendly. Lance immediately asked for a glass of wine. They got it for him.
And Malbec. They went and specially looked for Malbec because they were like, no, we're from California, Pinot Noir. And I'm like, no, that's...
Yep.
I'm an Argentinian boy.
Frankly. Yeah. Right before like basically our meetings with reps, I asked one of the Bond event staffs, I was like, oh, where'd you get that iced coffee? And then she started to explain it. And then she goes, well, why don't I just go get it for you? What do you want? I was like,
so
this
good.
is amazing.
Everybody was so professional, right? They were just on point. They were literally exactly the kind of people we want to align ourselves with. Even the vendors who then followed up with us. I went there trying to solve problems. I think that's why it resonated with me so much. Is we're doing some pretty custom curvy swervy stuff in some of these houses. Like one house is called South Watch Flow at F9, and it's very curvy. Literally in floor plan it's curvy, and roof plan it's like multiple curves. The roof is totally wacky. I don't even know how we were gonna build it. We're doing a lot of custom spiral staircases these days. And I went there searching for people that could solve my problems, and I found them. They could solve my problems.
Yep. And that's one of the things is they ask you to list vendors that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really interested. You're not pigeonholed into anything, and you're not going around and finding them. They come to you. And what was great was there was 2 times where I was supposed to have a meeting, and they came and looked. Did this ever happen to you? So no one was around me, and then they're like, hey, are you supposed to have someone? I was like, oh, yeah. And they're like, okay, we'll go find where they're at. And then they found where that person was at, and they basically we're wrapping up a
Something
conversation.
similar. Basically, one of the meetings I had was with this gentleman who makes very custom, just some of the most amazing trusses literally in the world, wood trusses or just wood framing structures, elements. And he solved the problem. But I couldn't open the file for Southwatch Flow.
Oh.
And during our meeting, it was kind of embarrassing because I was like, boy, the internet sucks. That was my only complaint when I filled out the response form to Bond was like, yeah, the internet was not that good. Nothing. I mean, they can only control so much. But so then this gentleman and I, we were done with our meeting, and I finally got the file open.
Yeah.
And this was like 2 hours later. And I went up to one of the gals, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way you can get me in touch with Di? I think his name is Di, D-A-I or something." Sure enough. And then we had an impromptu meeting and solved the problem.
Yep.
It was great.
Another one, too, I was sitting there, and one of the Bond ladies comes by and said, "Oh, are you well, they actually knew. It's so funny. They go, your meeting is actually upstairs. You're supposed to be upstairs." I was like, "Oh, okay, great."
Thank you.
Thank you. I was just sitting here not knowing that.
Not knowing that.
Yep. So shout out to them. Go check them out. It is bondevents.com. See if something,
resonates with you. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Find an event, and if you do commercial, if you do healthcare, if you do hospitality, if you do interiors, if you do single family residential like we do, multi-family residential also like we do, and you do a lot of it, then I think you are a candidate. It is super helpful. There's also networking with a bunch of other architects, and I think that's valuable because a lot of other architects maybe let's say they get an inquiry for, or they just are one of their friends is looking for a referral in the state you operate in, and they can't fulfill it. You might have a commission coming your way.
There we go. Is that going to happen?
I hope so.
Cool.
It isn't. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Let's transition. This is 32 charts. We're not going to go through all of them. I only want to kind of point out one big one that tell the story of markets and the economy midway through 2024.
Okay.
So the first one that you'll find, the first chart, is right there. And it basically shows that inflation continues to slow down.
Slow descent.
And basically from 421,
Yep.
it started off around 4%, and it went to a high around 822, around 8%. And that's the way that they count it. It was at 8%. And now it's back to, just around 3. But Lance, you notice the biggest thing that's sticking, that's keeping that high? So they have these color charts, essentially. So they have food and alcohol as a percentage of it. They have energy. They have core goods, dining, hotel rooms, shelter, and X insurance. I don't know, auto insurance. Which so every one of those has come down significantly, but which one is making inflation still high?
The housing.
Yeah,
Shelter.
So it's our fault.
It makes sense.
It's our fault.
Yeah, it's our fault. Yeah.
Our industry's fault.
Yeah.
But just think if that would have shrunk to where it was before, we would be under 2.
Yeah.
We'd be solidly under 2.
I know. Everybody put their. I mean, it's an asset, right? So it's not really I know people want just this huge implosion in housing, and they're just waiting for it. I'm like, I don't know. It's a real piece of property. Like, good luck. We're not making since we're not making a ton of them. How are you ever gonna push that number down? I've always tried to explain this over and over and over again to people. And
I had to explain this to a client because they said these prices I'm getting from contractors I don't believe, and I feel like I'm getting ripped off.
I just don't believe it.
Well, but
Okay. Cool.
but this is what's happening. If you go back 5 years and then you come back into the industry and you see this and you're like, why? So I had to explain it. And it was a great conversation, and then it might be actually one of our clients. And I said, there's a couple things that are going on. First, if you look at the macro, let's say that less houses are getting built, so people get out of the industry. So then they literally squirt out of the industry, and you're left with a smaller pie, so they can keep charging those amounts. But why are they charging those amounts too, right? Well, one is because the competition actually shrinks and grows with the size, right?
Yep.
The other thing is that you really, really, really have to look what these cities and counties and jurisdictions are doing. I was telling her about the electrical code and how that's adding $20,000 to $30,000 to each house right there. That just alone. There's actual studies by the National Association of Home Builders that all these codes enforcement add $90-some thousand to each project. And what's so funny is that she was saying, like, I feel like it should be like $90,000 to $100,000 cheaper. And I'm like,
That's all the regulations.
And I go, not only are all those codes making you put in more insulation, put in dimmers, put in all these other things. She's in Larimer County. The amount of nuance, scrutiny, and nonsense that the inspectors are giving our staff, and then even in Denver too. I think we're on round 4 of a house. We just heard from one of our staff members. And do you remember that duplex that me and you, I maybe pretty sure you did most of the drawings, but it was like a Southwest style. And we submitted it, and like literally months later, we're like, oh, they're building it. Well, like we didn't even get any. They didn't. No one even.
No
let us know.
comments.
No, still standing.
Still standing.
Still a great house.
Still housing people.
I'm pretty sure whatever Gresh put together was probably just as competent on the drawings as,
if not more. It was just really good. Really good. Really good drawings.
So,
The best, in my opinion.
So
Like I would argue that we could win if there was some kind of award where they're like from the city of Denver on like best residential drawings submitted, not design wise. I just mean cohesiveness and completeness and easiness to read and all that. It'd be us. Like we'd be number 1 or number 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway,
okay.
Actually, back to that. What's hilarious is the city of Denver decided they're trying to make the process faster, and it has gotten faster in a certain way, but it's also gummed it up in another way, where they said instead of one person reviewing everything, now we're going to have 5 different people in 5 different departments review it. That's the split. This is what literally happened when the new auditor came in with the new mayor, because their whole one of the things he ran on was he was going to solve the homeless problem. He's going to solve the housing problem. Good, and he's done a really good job at homeless. Actually, there's a lot less people on the streets. We're doing a lot. He's doing a lot better. He's doing some initiatives, but then the auditor came in and like, it's always these unintended consequences. Like, okay, is it making the initial time for us to hear back from the city much faster? Much faster. It's gotten way better again. But then the problem is then now there's this split and a fork, and there's 5 different reviews versus 1.
But like, if you knew anything about manufacturing, you would know that this is the wrong way to go. And it goes back to this 2-second lean book. One, the justification, but this is bureaucracy and government people who don't know how things actually work, really messing up the system. Yeah. Because splitting up into 5, they're like, one person will just know about electrical. One person will just know about this, so they'll be able to do it. Well, guess what? They're going to be super particular about that niche and want everything to be super detailed in their way, and then not understand how it's not on there, and they're not understanding. The other thing, you've heard of this, one-piece flow. One-piece flow. If you watched anything about the 2-second lean where they had those little videos, when they're putting something together, they get an order for, who knows, a tape measurer. Like, it's not, I'm going to make 10 casings, and then I'm going to make 10 things, whatever. It's like, no. Casing, I'm putting together the thing, whatever. I'm making the whole thing completely. It is in the package. I am packaging it up. It is complete.
Yeah.
Rather than having to then say, nope, someone else packages it. Oh, they're not in right now. Splitting that up 5 times. One-piece flow, people. One-piece flow. One.
Yeah.
Redo what you're doing, Denver.
Yeah. What do we got next? Another chart?
Nope. All the other charts I don't care about.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. All right. U.S. pending home sales grew by 7.4%. What?
Exactly.
Al Gore.
Great news.
Great news. Happy Halloween.
Happy to have competition. Happy not to have cronyism. The more housing on the market, the more competition there are, which means that's better for consumers, which means prices maybe could come down. We don't know. But alls I wanted to say with this one was U.S. pending home sales rose 7.4 month over month and 2.2 annually in the month of September. So
very exciting. That's good news. Things are, I think we're trending in the right direction. We'll have to see if that continues, but yeah, we're trending in the right direction. Ace Labs again.
Yeah,
more Al. This is Al. He's
Al show.
Al, the showstopper.
Gore. So go to Ace Labs. Google it.
Oh, okay. I'm doing it right now.
Pop it up.
Ace Labs. Okay. This one.
It's the first one. Look at that. Nope, it's not. Just
It's not. It is not
Second
that one.
one.
Wow. Second one.
AceLabsUSA.com. So this is a program I think people will at first think it's just an organized program for your materials and specs and all that. And that's great, and that's the surface level of it. The thing, though, is that they're not a paid for play. They're essentially scraping all the internet of all the manufactured products so that you can have them in there. You can organize them by project. The cool thing that they're doing that, Lance, you probably don't know about is that for 100 firms, ours being one of them, they're taking our drawings, they're taking our bid files of things that we've actually purchased for projects. They are having AI scour it, and they're making a library just for F9.
What?
Just for F9.
What? This is interesting.
So now
I'm interested.
Now instead of us having to build out that stuff, now it's all going to be there.
This is exciting.
And now it could be.
What do the guys think of this?
They like it
Cool.
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And then here's the thing, too. I think you actually mentioned one of my sketches because we have different.
Oh, yeah.
We have
Every once in a while, he has a good sketch.
we have different levels of projects. Everywhere from we're picking out everything and it's super custom to just like almost a builder's grade, product. And we could have. Oh, you don't even know about this. So Lance, this is where all your materials live.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have to tell them that we like one piece flow, so we like everything to flow through Revit. They said, "Oh, this integrates into Revit."
Of course it does.
So you can just. So I want a page where it's like, we make. Hey, here are the windows we like. Let's just say Weather Shield, Pella, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the siding that we like, and some other thing, and that can literally live there in our template. So let's say we're going to build it or we hand it off to someone. We already have in there, like, we've narrowed down your choices. We have a starting point to go from, right? And so that's the next like level of cool thing that's above and beyond in this program. Then they said, and we'll have to see how this flows. Let's say we pick a window. Let's say one of these window manufacturers that we met at Bond events, and they have all their information here, but we don't have a window for that one. Through their AI, they will scrape the information, make a family that has that information in there so that when it's published in the schedules, now it can say that window and stuff like that. Makes a whole new family, like AI magic.
Wow. Wow, check it out, Ace Labs USA. So how do other people, they just join for free? They're doing this thing? Is that what they schedule a demo? What would you recommend? Somebody's listening to this, they're like, you know what? I want to try it. Hackers listen to this. He's like, what do I do?
You know what? Go to AceLabsUSA.com and then schedule a demo.
Schedule a demo. Yeah, make it happen. Cool. All right, finally, Lance is going to steal the show. Lance, steal the show, Cayko.
Yep.
I've got a read up here from Mark Anderson.
Andreessen. That's how you say it.
Andreessen. And it relates back to the title of the show today, which is How to Be an Effective CEO. So he's got a great question for Mark Andreessen on the Impact Theory podcast about how Elon is such an effective CEO. It's fascinating.
What is it that Elon does, either in worldview or action, that makes him so effective?
Yeah, this is, in my mind, this is the single biggest question. I'm really glad you asked it because it's the single biggest question in the world right now. Or it's the single biggest question in my world, right? Which is like, okay, how is it that he does what he does? And I would say, I don't, there are people who have worked with him for a lot longer who probably understand this better, but I've had, an up close kind of look at it for the last several years now, and have come to really, I think, really respect it, and I think understand at least parts of it. Look, it's a lot of it. There was that famous text exchange, and actually he's a friend of mine, a wonderful guy, Parag, who was running Twitter at the time when Elon first kind of tangled with it. Parag's a wonderful guy, and he had literally just become CEO like a month earlier or something, and so he was just putting his plans in place when kind of everything the hurricane hit. But there was an exchange where Parag is talking about whatever, and it's the famous text exchange where Elon's like, "All right, fuck it, I'm not having this conversation anymore," and then he said, "What have you gotten done this week?" Right. And what I realized when I read that was like that is the Elon method. Like the Elon method boiled all the way down is, what have you gotten done this week? Right. And that's very important, because at anybody who has ever been at a large company trying to do anything big, the big things happen over the course of years, decades, years, months. Things don't happen in weeks. Like, the companies have like 5-year plans, right? They have like, cars take like 7 years to design, right? Like rockets take like a decade. Fighter jets take like 25 years. Big software systems take 5-10 years. Any large scale effort anywhere in the economy, we've just all gotten used to this idea that things just take years and years and years. And then you've got like processes and procedures and plans and this, documentation and, rules and structure and strategies and like frameworks and PowerPoint presentations coming out of your ears. Amazon's big breakthrough was to go from having PowerPoint presentations to having like 15-page written documents that everybody reads at the start of a meeting, which actually is an improvement off of a PowerPoint presentation. But like, there was that. Elon's like, no, I'm not doing any of that. Like, I'm not doing any of that. We're not doing any of that. Basically, we're going to like staff these companies almost entirely with engineers. I myself, Elon, am an engineer. I am going to understand every aspect of every technical system that we're working on. I am going to be able to be in all the meetings on everything from rocket design to database design at Twitter and everything else. I'm going to only talk to the engineers if I can, possibly avoid it. I'm never going to talk to anybody who's not an engineer. I'm going to talk to the person who's directly relevant to the project. I'm not going through layers. I'm going all the way down to the company to just talk to the person who's in charge of this thing. And then basically what he does is he goes to each of his companies each week. He identifies whatever is the bottleneck at that company this week, and then he works with the engineers and he fixes it that week.
That is my approach, and that is why I ask for direct answers to my questions. I'm just saying, this is so people who deal with people like me or Elon who are just like
it's the same guy basically. I don't know the difference.
I say this all the time. Like people are like, this is I'm too busy. No. The only people busier than me, the only person busier than me is Elon Musk. Okay?
That's it.
Right? That's it. That's how fucking busy I am. I am that busy. So when I'm trying to solve the problems and figure out the bottlenecks with all the companies and everything else, and I'm asking the questions, and they're direct, it's not me being mean. It's me trying to go exactly down to the bottleneck every single time. Like what is I'm trying to identify like the issue here and how we solve this problem.
Yep.
And just avoiding the strata. I'm just going right to it and all of that kind of stuff. That I was just so relieved to hear that this is why the guy can cut through all the tape. This is why the guy could do that segment is actually like 7 minutes long. I had to cut it. But he gives an example. He's like, that's why Elon can do like 10 iterations of a rocket versus Virgin, who's doing like one or two at a time.
Yep. But it's the whole philosophy besides the directness of no, we're going towards progress and getting things done. So I don't care. I want things done. I don't care when the rocket ship blows up. Did we make a new rocket ship? Did we improve on the last one? Did we solve that one problem? Oh, but it's going to blow up. Yeah, I know rockets blow up. Right? Because it's what did you actually do? Not like, okay, we just spun our wheels and redesigned things. Did we test it? Did we learn? Did we do anything like that? And the only thing too about that direct too is like make sure, here's what happens sometimes. I haven't seen this in a long time, is when people are trying to drill down, I see the person that's answering the questions, they don't know what you're asking for. So like you have to say it in different ways or be like, okay, if they're not giving you that answer, it's because their brain is on a different frequency and somehow you have to shift it. The other thing too is that's why I've always liked that we've always encouraged and always wanted the best that we can, not only for all of our staffs to become architects, because that's our equivalent to engineers. Like, no, you're the architect, right? You should know. You should know the whole process. You're going through the whole process. We're not segmenting you to just do bathroom details or anything like that. You're not just the designer. You're everything. Because
you're everything. But you're like, so like, let's just. This is the strata. So like, on the construction side of things, right? That's why, like, I need you to know how to do drywall. I need you to know how to pick up a hammer. Oh, after you've kind of mastered all that stuff, great. Now I can trust you as a foreman. Cool, yep. Because like I can't have you be this superintendent who's never picked up a hammer.
Yep.
You got to be able to go down and be exactly that. The 1-to-1 engineer, 1-to-1 architect, 1-to-1. I've been a drafter before. 1-to-1. I've been a carpenter. Like that's why I always say, like, first and foremost, Lance is a master carpenter. That's what he is. Like, man, Lance is a carpenter at the core of it all. Yep. And that's why, that's how you can be effective. Like you gotta, if you're walking the walk, then you can talk the talk.
And that's why, right when they pass the tests, we heavily emphasize take your contractor's test. Not that you're going to be a contractor, but again, you are the engineer, the architect here at F9. So I want you to have that construction knowledge. So then you can just solve things. Like I love when, like our person sitting in that corner, we go on vacation and like, oh, they just went down to the job site and then just talk to the engineer, talk to the guy on site. That was solved.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what we need. We don't need all these layers of bureaucracy and all this other nonsense.
Yeah.
One piece flow.
Yeah, one please flow. All right, that's all we got for you. If you like this episode, you listen on YouTube, leave us a positive comment. If you're watching on iTunes, listen on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you next week.